Now, some of you may or may not know this, but I have a hearing condition called nerve deafness in my left ear. Yes, it's pointing to my right because for some reason my camera on my laptop has flipped and I can't turn it around, and I don't know why. I have a condition called nerve deafness in my left ear. I've had it since birth, so I have no idea what it sounds like, excuse the pun, to hear normally. To put it in a different way, this was actually the very first video I ever did on YouTube. So if you're interested, go look it up. I explain it all in full details there. Now, a while back, I got asked, I say a while back, this is quite a few years back, I got asked, what is it like to be deaf? And I remember the conversation at the time. I said something like, it was like having hot needles put through your head and that sort of stuff. And if I'm honest, it's not. Hold on a sec. The best way to explain it, and the reason I'm going to explain this, is because when I started learning sign language, BSL, British Sign Language, I got asked that question again, but online, and I really had to think about it. Now, like I said, when I got asked the question originally, I was about 21, 22 at the time, and I was still very ignorant to it. But now that I'm a lot older, I'm 36 now, and I've had a long time to think about this. And the best way to explain it is, imagine the loneliest you've ever felt, and how that made you at the time. And imagine, I should point out, this is for me. This is not for this is nothing to do with anyone else. So if there are any other deaf people out there, or half like me, or fully deaf, your situation will be completely different from mine, and I accept and respect that. These are my thoughts and opinions and views as it is. But as I said, imagine the loneliest you've ever felt in your life, and that sensation you had of not hopelessness or anything like that, but just unpleasantness. Now imagine that every day. There are times when I don't remember about it, and I don't know if it's the fact that I've kind of pushed it out of my head or whatever, but it's not the nicest thing, if I'm honest. There are times when I do get a bit upset about it, but other times, I think if I didn't have this, then I wouldn't be the me I am now. So, for example, if I was born with both ears working perfectly fine, then, my life would have been, massively different, because at the time, I wouldn't have had all the issues I had, so I found it very hard to learn when I was growing up, because I didn't find out I was deaf until about the age of 10, because I didn't know any difference. So how would I be able to say, what's this? And then I had people who helped me. I had like speech therapy, and I had one particular teacher when I was in middle school, who really helped me out massively, and for that I am forever grateful to her. Kate Hastings, Gossip Screen Middle School, brilliant teacher. So there's that, but then I've had to learn, like everyone else, and I've had to live with this every day. And I don't want my kids to have it, if I'm honest. It's not great. It is what it is. I don't know if a cure will ever be made, if you can call it a cure. But in my case, like I said, if I didn't have this, my life would have been completely different. But it isn't, and this is the life I've got. So time travel hasn't been invented, and sort of genetic engineering hasn't been widely distributed. So if it does exist, then fair enough, bloody send it my way and redo it. But it hasn't. So we have to we have our little crosses to bear. I've got nothing in this ear, and I've got what should have been in this ear now in this ear. So I've actually got two. Well, I did have 2 times the strength. And there are some weird things I could do when I first started to train myself on how to live with it. But again, that's in the original video. It's something. For instance, I'm retaking up my British Sign Language because I'm very rusty on it, and I've been watching a lot of videos about things that you wouldn't necessarily say to a deaf person, and some of them are things like, "Oh, you're so courageous at living with it." It's kind of like, why exactly? Okay, we struggle, but most of us get over it, and we're actually better than most of you people. It's not like, are your senses heightened? Well, yes. What should have been in here is now in there. My body compensated, but I'm lucky. There was a colleague when I worked at Virgin Atlantic whose daughter only had one ear grown, but it was kind of like mushed up, for want of a better word, but she could hear. I'm her polar opposite, or she's my polar opposite, as it were. I can't hear, yet I look perfectly fine. And I say perfectly fine, and I don't mean that in any kind of horrible way or anything like that, so don't get off your high horse. Whereas she can hear, but she's got a physical defect. I can't hear, but I've got perfectly formed ears. So that's my actual thought on it. Now, I don't let it affect me as much as I used to. In my kind of private moments, it does occasionally still get to me, but nowhere near as much as it used to. I would like more people. In fact, one thing I would like is the school curriculum to have British Sign Language added to the curriculum now. There's a big thing going on about this, and I think it would be brilliant if that was the case, because it's such an elegant, in order to sign, you need to learn. Again, I'm saying I'm rusty. Here's one for you. I'm slow to sign, but improving. The reason I'm taking this back up is because last week I was in Torremolinos, and when we arrived at our hotel, there were 4 gents in the queue behind me, and I believe they were on the plane as well with me. They were all signing, and they had hearing aids. One with like the little magnet. He had that. Others had standard hearing aids, and they were signing away, and it just re-sparked my interest. And then the following day, there was a young lady, and I, for the life of me, can't remember her name. She was actually a really nice girl. She was non-verbal, and she was signing. She could make noise, but she couldn't speak like I am now. But she was signing, and I was in the queue, and I happened to just turn around, and it caught my eye, and I started signing back to her, and I was speaking to her and signing. Now, this is something that some people probably don't realise. When people use sign language, we don't just do this all the time. We have to mouth as well what we're saying, because there are a lot of signs that have different meanings but the same signs. So like I've said before, please and thank you are the same thing, so it's that, whereas hello and goodbye are this. But if someone turns up and they're doing that, you don't know if they're saying hi or bye or whatever. So we have to lip read and lip speak at the same time, or you can just talk normally whilst you're doing it. You know, some people find it easier. It's how you learn it. But she was such a lovely lady, and she was in a wheelchair at the same time, and I know she could walk, but she was struggling a lot. But just, we are disabled, yes, but we're not invalids. We're not, unfortunately, not all of us are. You know, give us a chance. Yeah, that's all I'm asking. So I'm gonna leave that there. Bye.